Couldn't find the remote.
So, it's come to this. Click is a movie that fascinated me for years before I finally gave it a watch. It's a solid concept for a film. What if you had a universal remote that controlled your universe? It's a premise that naturally allows for more creative hijinks than your typical Sandler romp. But at the same time, what truly drew me into this film was the astoundingly divisive reputation it has. Opinions are all across the board on this one. Some say it's a garbage Adam Sandler comedy, which, wow, that's so shocking. But what was truly shocking to me was how often I heard this one described as a misunderstood masterpiece. An emotional tour de force with profound life lessons to be learned. What were these people talking about? What profound meditations on the nature of life could Click 2006 hold? I don't know, but everything about this film just intrigued me to no end. And at some points, enough was enough. I just had to know. And so, when it became evident that I was rapidly approaching 1,000 logs on Letterboxd, I decided there was only one way to commemorate such an occasion. It was time to gather my friends and finally watch Click together. I wrote up an entire pretentious fake Letterboxd review beforehand that I honestly considered just reading aloud for this segment of the video, with the only segment I added after the fact being the score I initially gave this film. 2 out of 10. You see, I simply could not abide by Click. To quote my girlfriend's Letterboxd review that quotes Mark Twain, its humor is pathetic, its pathos funny. Click is a monstrously lopsided film that expresses an aching desire to be so much more than it is. But before I delve into it any further, I wanted to address the fact that perhaps I treated it too harshly. As someone who doesn't watch a lot of lowbrow comedies, Adam Sandler humor can generally be a shock to the system for me, as was the case when I first watched this film on February 28th, 2024. But the more of this shit you watch, the higher immunity levels you tend to build up. And the more you start to appreciate any level of greater ambition one of these lowbrow affairs aspires to compared to its contemporaries. Put simply, I was wrong about Click. It's not a 2 out of 10. It is a 3. Holy shit, the first hour of this film is insufferable. This is your GOAT? The movie where dogs constantly hump a duck plush and this gets a woman off? The movie where Adam Sandler gets to relive coming out of his mother's vagina? The movie where he farts in his boss's face and talks to Rob Schneider and Brownface not even 5 minutes in and constantly makes comments about how big his daughter's boobs are? Okay, that's in the latter half of the movie, but that's the thing. Yes, the latter half of this movie is better. It has its moments. But then it just can't help itself from ruining it all with some stupid, unfunny joke. It's so frustrating because there is a good movie in here. I see what you guys are saying. But I'm sorry, Click is just kind of an embarrassment of a film. This movie is about a guy named Adam Sandler, played by Adam Sandler. He's a workaholic, desperately trying to get a promotion at his job, and unfortunately neglecting spending time with his family. I wonder what the message of the movie will be. Anyway, he finds himself in need of a universal remote, so he goes to Bed Bath & Beyond. And here, he ventures into the Beyond section. Okay, fine, that's kind of cute. I like that. In here is Christopher Walken as Morty, and he gives him a universal remote that controls his universe. You know, like the tagline. The way he goofs around with it are okay. It's mostly just a bunch of pausing people to mess with them and muting them and whatnot. Unfortunately, I just don't really find much of it funny. And not in the sense that, oh, grr, this humor is so offensive. Like, I legitimately just don't remember anything this remote was used for that actually made me laugh. At one point, he turns his boss really wide and he makes him speak Spanish, and this is the funniest thing ever to him. Okay? There might have been more comedic potential if the effects of the remote were noticed by anyone else, but it seems to be something only Sandler can see. So, if he's not really affecting the world around him outside of his perspective, then I don't know, that's kinda lame. There's another scene where he turns himself green and purple, and the joke is that he looks like the Hulk and Barney. What? Is that really what we're going for here? That's all you can do with this concept? I mean, I guess I should be happy that he didn't turn himself brown, because Rob Schneider definitely would have done that. But like, I don't know. Turn yourself green as a way of pretending you're sick. But then everyone thinks you're too sick and you have some rare skin disease or something, so they force you to go to the hospital. I don't know, Drake and Josh did that one time, and I thought it was kind of funny. Do shit with the cool remote. Make that kid you hate really wide. I don't know, man. I feel like there's more to work with here. But oh, sacre bleu! I forgot that Click isn't about the comedy that takes up the entire first hour. It's about the drama! You see, the remote starts to learn Adam Sandler's preferences, and thus, it starts to fast forward through key moments of his life. Like arguing, or taking a shower, or having sex with his wife. Eventually, it all gets out of control. Oh dear. Be careful what you wish for, Adam Sandler. This element of the plot ties directly into the main source of conflict, which is Adam Sandler being too much of a workaholic and not valuing time spent with his family enough. Is it a good message? Yeah, no shit. But just because the movie has something good to say doesn't mean that it also has a good way of saying it. Click does not express at any point through the entire first hour that it wants to be taken in good faith. Yeah, we see the seeds of the second half's conflict being planted when he ignores his family for work-related reasons. But it's sandwiched in between the dog humping and the Rob Schneider brown face. There's no earnest relatability to this Sandler protagonist because the movie surrounding him doesn't want to be earnest. It wants to bombard you with some of the laziest humor in any of these Sandler films, without any of the charm or likability that made flicks like Happy Gilmore or Big Daddy work as well as they did. This movie has much more in common with Jack and Jill than it does those two. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. I guess the one thing I can give this opening hour is that Christopher Walken is pretty okay. He's kind of enjoyable as this enigmatic weirdo, and the twist with him later on is neat, I suppose. Not that he even comes close to saving this abominable slog of a first hour. But this, of course, is only one side of the coin. Click is not regarded solely for its great comedy, but for its incredible pathos. Matters suddenly take a disturbing turn for our dear Adam Sandler when the remote starts skipping on its own. He ends up flung 10 years into the future when he finally gets that promotion he wanted, only to find out he's fat. You see, that's funny because he's fat. Or no, it's actually kind of a horror reveal that he's fat. And his son is fat too. Fat people are funny and or scary. Why aren't you laughing and or terrified at the idea that one day you might be fat? Obviously, the makeup job on him is very good, and in fact, it earned Click an Academy Award nomination for Best Makeup. Yes, you heard that right. Adam Sandler's Click is an Academy Award nominated film. And not only that, barring any nominations that Jay Kelly might receive after this video comes out, Click is in fact the only Adam Sandler movie to ever receive an Academy Award nomination. There is not a single other one. Not even one of his good movies got in at the Oscars. But Click sure did. This fills me with a violent and irrepressible rage. Don't get me wrong, Best Makeup is not exactly a prestigious category. Suicide Squad won Best Makeup, and not the good Suicide Squad either. But like, if I was an Academy member and I watched this movie when it came out, I would have banned Adam Sandler from any Academy events for 10 years, Will Smith style. That way he could at least come back in 2019 to get his nomination for Uncut Gems. Oh wait, he didn't even get that! Whatever, Adam Sandler is fat, his son is fat, he sees his teenage daughter and incredulously asks, "When did you get boobs?" And his wife divorced him and is now married to Samwise Lord of the Rings. This is an interesting development as now we get to see Adam Sandler navigate this unfamiliar future and his new dynamics with his family, or he could just go into a coma and then wake up further in the future, where he's not fat anymore, and his son isn't fat anymore. What was the point of making them fat in the first place then? Just for a cheap gag? You're really telling me the supremely powerful and riveting Click would just throw in a cheap gag that it immediately walks back on in the next scene because it's a shallow, unfunny piece of shit film? Say it ain't so! I felt a little bad dissing movies like Billy Madison, since I know a lot of people like it, and the reason I didn't was because I just didn't find it all that funny. But I am not extending the same courtesy to Click. This movie painstakingly made its obnoxious bottom-of-the-barrel bed, and now it has to lie in it. That's not me saying that you shouldn't like this film or that I don't respect you if you like it. I just don't respect this movie in general for the scenes it has that are actually good. Because believe it or not, we've actually gotten to them. Yeah, fine, I'll say it. The scene where Adam Sandler realizes his father died, which comes immediately after he comically compliments a woman for being chesty before realizing that's his daughter, is good. Obviously, we all know Adam Sandler is a good actor at this point, but people who only watch his shitty comedies were probably blown away with how well he sells the grief in this scene. It's legit good acting. And the scene where he watches his past self blow his father off the last time they were together is also good. I'll give you guys that. The problem is just the damn movie they're in. Click can't decide to have a heart now. Not after all the bullshit it put me through for over half its runtime. Maybe if the first hour was actually funny, or if the main character had a twinge of likability until now, but those really aren't the case. The scene where he's at his son's wedding is fine, it's got decent emotion to it, but he's gotta get in a little gag and pause time to pants his wife's new husband. Couldn't let this scene play out without a joke, now could we? And then there's the grand emotional climax where Adam Sandler runs out of the hospital after his son, trying to tell him not to prioritize work over family, and saying goodbye to his family in the process. It's so funny and pathetic, so emotional. Here's the thing. I can compliment the more grounded emotional scenes in this film, like the ones related to his father, but this is just insane. It's so beyond over the top in concept and execution that it borders on parody. From the big, swelling, dramatic music, to the excessive amount of rain, to Sandler screaming at the top of his lungs like he's Anakin getting caught on fire. Again, it feels like a parody of big emotional climaxes in movies. Maybe it is, since he still squeezes in a gag where he flips off the new husband. I don't know. What the f do you want me to feel, Click? Once again, I have to acknowledge that there's a solid 10-minute stretch of this film that does work dramatically for what it is. But is that enough? Is that what elevates this film into a big emotional masterpiece? I think what really grinds my gears about Click is how much it squanders its genuinely solid potential. There's a scene where Adam Sandler asks Christopher Walken, who, by the way, is the angel of death. That's f***ing insane. But he asks him, "Why'd you make me waste my entire life?" That's gonna be me on my deathbed, asking a variation of that question to Adam Sandler. I'm going to inquire, why did you waste the excellent premise of Click? Because a film about a man who just wants to fast forward the mundane parts of his life, only to realize the value in those aspects and learn that he shouldn't take his family for granted, that's great on paper. Throw in some actually fun hijinks he could get into with this remote. Seriously, it's fucking insane to me this movie doesn't have a montage of him goofing off with this thing. And you got a recipe for a really strong sci-fi comedy drama film. It feels like the pieces were all there initially, but then they got mangled into lazy, Sandlery mush with all the awful comedy he slathered on top of it. And after watching so many actually good comedies of his, it makes me resent how lazy and unfunny this one is even more. I'm not asking for Punch Drunk Love level writing, just give me comedy on par with The Waterboy, and then the premise can carry the film from there. I don't know, maybe I'm an asshole for not meeting Click at its level, but I seriously think it's okay to ask for a little more out of a movie like this. Every positive element it has, like its few good dramatic scenes, or its makeup work, or the pretty fun vision it has of the future, are completely wasted on such a limp, farce. A movie that assaults your senses for so long, only to beg you to take it seriously by the end. Where do you get the gall, Click? I hate this movie. It's at least fascinatingly bad and unforgettable enough to deserve a spot above many other pieces of nearly irredeemable garbage that we will soon cover. But man, that is not a huge accomplishment.
I'm backing up!
Actually, I lied. Put your clothes back on. I'm not done talking about Click. Where does this movie get the gall to end with the whole "it was all a dream" routine? I know it wasn't literally a dream, that probably was a real encounter with the actual Angel of Death, but the vision of his bad future might as well have been a prophetic dream since it has no consequences by the end. Yes, I get it. You're ripping off It's a Wonderful Life. But in It's a Wonderful Life, the angel is upfront in telling George that this is an alternate timeline where he doesn't exist. Here, it's meant to be a twist. Oh wow, you're so clever, Click 2006. You're so brilliant. I never would have seen this coming. It's not as if this was the only way to give the main character a happy ending, just erasing the entire events of the movie. Wow, you really pulled the wool over my eyes. Piece of shit. I hope you fucking die, Click. This is why Gunn did better at the box office than you. What is the gag supposed to be with David Hasselhoff's character anyway? He's doing a sexual harassment seminar, but he sexually harasses people? What is that for? What does that lead to for his character? I'm asking this because it's not really funny, so I assume it has some relevance to the plot. Hell, I suppose I could ask that about anything in this movie. Why does the dog hump the duck? It's not funny, and if it's not funny, and no one in their right mind would ever find it funny, then why is it in the movie? I know I said earlier that I found the 13-year-old still getting breastfed and grown-ups funny, but that was different. That was a breast. This is a duck. Why did they make so many jokes about what a tiny penis he has as a baby? He's a baby! Tiny penis jokes aren't even that funny about adults, except when it's about Nathan Fielder. What am I supposed to be getting out of this comedically? Does his daughter even have a character as an adult other than Adam Sandler feels the need to comment on how big her boobs are all the time? Like, the son is an accomplished businessman following in his father's footsteps. But what does the daughter even do? Why does he tell the kid version of her at the end that one day she'll be the hottest chick alive? What is with this movie? Oh well, congratulations to Adam Sandler for winning favorite movie actor at the Kids' Choice Awards for this movie. He beat out Jack Black in Nacho Libre, Johnny Depp in the second or third Pirates movie, and Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness? What the f was that doing at the Kids' Choice Awards? Alright, I guess I've said enough about Click now, meaning this analysis is finally over! Good night, Tri-State Area. Wait, damn it, this was a ranking video. Oh my god, I still have worse movies to go through.